today. Welcome to another episode of the Sean Farrell podcast. I am Sean Farrell. God is great all the time. All the time, God is great. Let's not waste no more time. Jesus Christ is Lord. So today, why we need to stop saying the phrase committed suicide. The phrase committed suicide comes from an era when suicide was considered a crime and even a sin. We asked our community of people bereaved by suicide, and the majority said they didn't like the phrase and preferred when people didn't use it. The language when discussing suicide is very important. Our words have power and words matter. It is important to understand that using the wrong language can be triggering. A member of our community said, I struggle when people use the term committed suicide. Before I lost my dad, I will admit that this term, quite freely, the letters I'm reading are small, but I've realized that this phrase doesn't feel right to me anymore. People who took their own life have not committed a crime. Using the phrase took his life feels the most natural way to explain what happened. Instead, you can say died by suicide or took their own life. Remember to lead with kindness, and that using appropriate language, we can encourage a more respectful and supportive dialogue when it comes to the topic of suicide. Okay. So yeah, it was a few years ago that I began practicing to not say the term committed suicide, rather ended his life or died by suicide. I remember I was watching a TEDx talk, and this lady was discussing, and the topic was casually suicidal. Okay, and she was discussing how her Sunday school teacher was discussing suicide, and of course all the talk about how you go to hell for ending your life by suicide or whatnot. And she was talking about how she felt sorry for her Sunday school teacher because the Sunday school teacher at first didn't see the pain that this particular person was in. Okay. So I believe it was Britain in the mid-1960s. Yeah, it was Britain in the mid-1960s who decriminalized suicide. I believe it was around 1961 where Britain decriminalized suicide. Okay. So but yeah, I've been practicing for years now. Died by or ended his life by suicide. Ended her life by suicide, I should say. Um, this is very, very important, using the right language. Um, it could be a turn off to somebody. The language that we use around suicide, it could be a turn off. Or just the attitudes that we have towards um, suicide, and attitudes that we have towards mental illness as a whole. Okay. Just the attitudes that we have towards mental illness and suicide as a whole can be a turn off to people. Um, and that's why I talk about it all the time. We need to take this kind of stuff seriously. We need to take this stuff seriously. I mean, I just talked about the young man that got bullied in school because of his teeth and his glasses. Okay. And the school did absolutely nothing. School didn't do jack shit. Okay. And so they didn't take it seriously. And so when you don't take mental health seriously, when you don't take somebody's when they come to you, okay, about what they're feeling, about how broken they are, about how trapped they are, and you just dismiss it as sadness, then that opens the door for suicide. That opens the door for suicide. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but it certainly opens a door. Um, and again, so often the ones that love us the most, the ones that we love the most, are often the ones that push us away or dismiss. Depression, suicide, anxiety as anxiety, you need to calm down. Depression, everybody gets sad from time to time. Suicide, don't be silly. Okay. Again, one man in the UK takes his life every 2 hours. In the United Kingdom, here in the US, it's every 40 seconds. It's every 40 seconds. Every 40 seconds, someone ends their life. And every 41 seconds, someone is left to pick up the pieces of that. Okay. And so don't dismiss it. Take it seriously. And let's use the right language around suicide. Not just suicide, but mental health in general. Okay. So I saw a post by, I can't remember who it was, but it felt I saw a post where this thing built like a human. This thing that was built like a human, and it had like rocks or stones in them. And it said, this is what depression feels like. Okay. It feels like a whole bunch of heavy stones in your body, which makes you just want to lay in bed the whole time. There's a certain heaviness that comes with depression. There's a certain exhaustion that comes with depression. Okay. And it can be so heavy, it's like a 10,000 pound weight is in your body, and you're just laying in bed because the weight is just way too heavy. The weight is just way too heavy. When you get in the shower, the water feels like 100 pounds coming down on you. You know, I experienced this, and it was one day I was really, really depressed. Okay. And in the midst of my depression, I decided to go to the gym. Okay. In the midst of my depression, I decided to go to the gym. But I noticed while I was lifting weights, the normal weights that I left at, the normal weights that I left at, were heavier. They felt heavier. And there was the normal weights I lifted at. They felt heavier. And they didn't take me long to figure out why. Because I was still depressed, even while I was lifting weights. And the weight just felt heavier. Okay. So, depression can make you feel heavy. Can make your body feel heavy. Can make taking a shower feel heavy. Can make getting out of bed feel heavy. So much so to the point where you just want to lay in bed until you feel right. Okay, so depression is heavy, and the saying, just because someone carries the burden well, doesn't mean it's heavy. So, all right, that's it. That's all for the Sean Farrell podcast. I am out of here. Peace out. God bless you all. See y'all on the next one.